name is Max McDonald, and I'm a systems analyst at CSE. So I work with the tech team and then just help with a lot of processes around the office and help people's jobs go smoother. That's the goal, at least. Yeah, I was a multi-sport athlete in high school. Not totally sure which way I wanted to go when I was looking at colleges. Ended up getting D1 offers, so I got recruited there, and football kind of just lent its way to being the most success that I could have in sports at the next level. So I went and played that, and along with that came a lot of highs and a lot of lows.
What mental struggles did you experience while playing in college, and what did you do to support yourself?
I dealt with a lot of anxiety, and I had some good bouts with depression in there. Just dealing with things like I lost my grandpa in the middle of fall camp one time, and that was not something that I handled very well. And then there's a lot of other things that kind of factor into that, but had a lot of I really tied my identity as a person into how the team performed and to just the win-loss column. And there's just so much more to a person than how many wins in a season your football team gets. So obviously that took a very negative toll on me in life. So for the first 3 years, 4 years, 3.5 years of college, I handled it really poorly, and I didn't actually take care of myself well enough. But towards the end of it, I realized that, I needed to focus inwardly on myself. Just kind of made that a priority and tried to be mindful about it. Started seeing our team counselor, team chaplain, got support from a bunch of teammates, my friends, my roommates. Just kind of made it a priority to make sure that I was okay as a person outside of football, and then that lent itself to working out so that I was more complete in other areas of life as well. So actually, I wasn't really the one who noticed fully what was going on. I had kind of let myself slip into a place where I was just existing to get by throughout the day. I was a terrible student at the time. I was struggling in a lot of classes, which is uncharacteristic for me. I was not attentive in relationships, with friendships, my family. Just wasn't myself, and I kind of lent itself to my junior year. I started getting panic attacks just in class, at home, before practice, during practice, at football games. So my coaches pulled me aside and like, "Hey Max, like, is everything okay? Like, what's going on here?" And I ended up having a meeting with the head coach at the time, where the conversation was, "Max, we came to a conclusion, the two of us in that meeting, that it wasn't okay, and that I needed to step away from football for a little bit to kind of find myself and find whether or not football was what I wanted to continue to do and come back to the team and keep playing, or if I needed even more time away from that, just to figure out, my own issues." So I took about a month away from the team without any contact with any of them, tried to get my classes straight, met with teachers. They were all super, super accommodating of me, got my grades back on track, and then slowly reestablished a routine, and then eventually ended up in reintegrating football back into that routine. And then I kind of realized that that's where I like to be, and that as much as it was a big stressor in my life and I had let that become something that wasn't, because it wasn't like a monster for me, but I let that weigh on me so much that it became almost impossible to do. But once I started to build a good foundation of being okay with myself and realizing that it wasn't everything, it actually became a lot more fun, and I was able to bring it back pretty successfully. And it's a tricky question, because I think people didn't even know to look to see if something was going on. You don't think to check on your friends who are playing football at Division I, who are on scholarship. You just kind of assume that life's good for that guy, and it was good. But at the same time, that doesn't mean that I was not. That doesn't mean I was okay just because I'm in a good situation in life. So it was interesting, because when I first had to take time away from football, my roommates were the first ones to go, "Hey man, like, what just happened?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm really not doing okay, guys." And their responses were like, "Are you serious? Like, really? You're not okay?" And it was a weird concept for them to see that I was struggling. And it was interesting because in my classes, you see the guy show up, he has to leave early for practice. He comes late for practice, whatever the case may be. A lot of classmates kind of assume that class wasn't important to me, and then I was just there for football, and I was living the student athlete life, and just kind of they just kind of assumed the best that I was doing okay. So when it came out that I was struggling in classes and struggling socially with my classmates and people that I was going to school with at the time too, I had a lot of support though coming out and saying, hey, like we're actually really proud that you've done that, and really impressed that you were able to knock down that wall. A lot of fans of the university reached out to me on social media and in the mail, which was a little weird, but it was awesome. It was a thing that you have like you said, a big wall where he's a big tough guy. He's a linebacker, big man on campus. Nothing's going wrong. And then when you find out that hey, there's actually a lot more behind the scenes going on, and not all of that's good. Not all of that's a good thing. A lot of people just looked at me different, and it wasn't in a bad way, but I was very afraid of that. I felt I was going to be ostracized, and when that wall came down, I actually had a lot of support, from teammates and friends and family, my roommates, my classmates, fans, just a lot of people around. So it was really hard to do, but it ended up being a really good thing. I kind of touched on it, but our team counselor, he was awesome for me, and just to help realize my value in life outside of my sport. And he just had a bunch of little tips and tools for me, and journaling, and like a meditation app that I have, and continuing the conversation with my friends ongoing, even when things aren't in the dump. When life is good, keep having conversations, keep talking to people, keep letting them know that hey, life is good right now. Because then when you hit a low point again, you don't want it just to be like a surprise where you just always, hey, like I only ever talk to my friends when I'm struggling, and he made me realize that I did value those relationships at all times, and they were there for me when I needed them. And then that was an opportunity that he said, go nurture those relationships, make sure that they're good at all times. And then, like I said, just being mindful and journaling, noting down thoughts and feelings as they happen, and acknowledging for them for what they are, which is just thoughts and feelings, and nothing that needs to dictate my day or my week or whatever it is. And just a bunch of little tools like that help me stay, mindful of where I'm at. Doesn't mean I'm always, in a good place, but whether I am or I'm not, it helps me be aware of where I'm at and just try to stay on top of things. No, I mean, I guess for advice, I don't necessarily have a lot of advice except for just keep the door open with your friends and family. Keep the conversation rolling. Don't be afraid to say, hey, I'm not okay, because it's okay not to be okay. It's not, your value and your worth isn't dictated on how happy you are, or if people's opinion of what you're doing matches how you feel about it. And it's okay to be in a good spot in life and not be happy, and it's okay to be happy with not being in a good spot in life. And there's no rules or limitations on how you have to feel and you're supposed to feel. So just be true to yourself and honest with yourself, and then share with those people that you can trust, and it'll work out.